Greetings, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I want to thank everyone who's joined us today. I'll give it another minute or so to let the stragglers come in. While I'm doing that, I want to give a big thanks to the Investor Hub team for setting up this amazing infrastructure and give us a hand setting this up. So it's our first time running one of these, and if I press a wrong button or something, everyone will forgive me today, hopefully. Too easy. All right, let's crack on with it then. So I'll be presenting today. Some of you may have got the announcement today regarding the PowerPoint which I'm about to talk to, or the slide deck I'm about to talk to. And for anyone who is watching today, we've got a poll open in the little chat window down there. So if you open the little chat window, you can ask me questions, and you can also answer that poll is what percentage of people watching are already familiar with the company story, and how many people are new to the story. I'd appreciate if you fill that out for me. Thanks. All right, so here's the presentation. We've got two bits to this presentation today. As you probably gather from that opening slide, we'll be talking about gold and we'll be talking about iron. And there's two beautiful samples, one of each, that we've collected in the last few years at our flagship Yalgoo project, which we'll be talking about more later. So here's the obligatory disclaimer for everyone to read with much enthusiasm in their own time. So about the company, for anyone who is unfamiliar, we are a junior explorer. Our share price is sitting at about, it's about 0.5 cent today. And we've got a fantastic team. So that's one thing I do want to talk about is the board that you can see there in front of you. Particularly Brian Moller, many of you may know is mining industry royalty, been the founder and ex-chairman of Sol Gold and many other companies. Myself, Andrew, and Owen. So all of us have significant experience in the industry, and we've got complementary skill sets that mean that we can progress the company very rapidly when required. And on the right-hand side, we've got things. So I know there's a number of companies very similar in scale and scope to Tempest, but the things that set us apart is we start off with a sustainability mindset. So before we do anything, we think, how can we do this nothing in the universe is sustainable, but how can we do it in the most sustainable way? And the second thing I want to point out is technology. Many of you will know that I'm a massive nerd and right into tech and that kind of stuff. So all the things that we've achieved in the company so far, a lot of those are leveraged because of that. And some of the things that we've done, early AI adoption and that kind of stuff before anyone even knew what that was. So, and we have a long-term growth vision. We're not just here in a to fly by night kind of activities. So one of the main reasons we're having the presentation today is that we are completing an entitlement offer today. For those of you who are existing shareholders, you have the opportunity to top up under the conditions that you can see there. So we'll be raising about 1.46 million, and that money will be going almost exclusively to progressing our iron and gold opportunities, which is what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the presentation. So if you are considering joining the entitlement offer as an existing shareholder, I recommend that you do that today as it closes by the end of business, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So here's an overview of our projects. They're all based in Western Australia, covering a diverse array of commodities. Many of you will know that I'm not the biggest fan of overly commodity-focused thinking. I believe the quality of the project should be the defining factor of how one works in this industry, and that's what we've focused on, is getting quality projects to do exploration and development. And as I mentioned, we've got quite a lot of ground, about 2,000 square kilometers total, and a number of highly prospective targets in there, in addition to our development of our Remorse Iron project. So starting off with gold, while we focused a lot on iron in recent times and copper and other things, the company was founded uh, as Tempest, as a gold explorer, and uh, we'll talk more about some of those targets that have been around for quite some time and how we're looking to progress them now that the gold fervor has returned to the market. And I'll be talking about 3 of our projects and a number of targets in each of those. First one is our flagship Yalgoo project. So many people have heard me talk about this one. So this picture is a snapshot from above of the entire project. From the top to the bottom of the screen is about 100 kilometers. So this is quite a big area. And within that area, we've got half a dozen world-class ore deposits and ore mines. The brown ones being iron, and the yellow ones, we're talking about gold today. So we've got some pretty significant companies there. We've got Vault Resources, Capricorn, Warrior, 29 Metals. So this is a well-established area with serious deposits, multi-million ounce gold deposits, and we think there's a good chance of finding a couple more of them within our tenure. So the first target within, if I go back to the previous slide, you'll see that we've got Messenger, WarWest, Sanity, and Euro. They're our 4 targets, gold targets that we're interested in at the moment. So I'm going to talk briefly about each of those. The first one being Sanity. So we're loosely, not in any particular order, we're just going from east to west. Sanity is located right beside Warrior Resources Barren deposit. So there's an existing gold deposit there that's discovered recently, and you can pretty much walk over the hill following the same rocks and enter into our target here, where we've got a huge gold anomaly there, several kilometers long, with up to 300 ppb gold, which is quite significant in soil. And from rock chips, which we've collected around areas where old timers have been doing mining, we've got rock chips up to 7 grams a ton. So there's definitely gold there, and we're looking forward to exploring that in the coming 6 months or so. So we've just put out some new news about that, and that's what that picture is there. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, you can see on this slide, there's the little grey arrows pointing to the right. If you're following along on this slide deck yourself, you can click on any of those arrows and it'll take you to an announcement on that topic and give you some more background information. So our second target, so this is the one that started our entire story here at Tempest. It's called the WarWest Target. And what happened was my colleague was driving along the road there and saw some guys digging a hole in a place that seemed unusual. And we now recognize that those holes were part of what's called an intrusive gold system. And that's loosely what the Hemi deposit that De Grey Mining now being taken over in the Pilbara, same kind of mineralization. And we've done a bunch of exploration there, and we've identified a huge target. It's something like 20 kilometers by 20 kilometers. It's very, very large alteration system. And we've done a lot of work there, and we've got drill targets left, right, and center. And this is some drilling that we did a few years ago, and we discovered not only the intrusive related gold system, where we got hit one of these high-grade veins that got a meter at 5 grams, but there's rock chips there that are up to 7 grams. But surrounding that, there's also low-grade gold everywhere. And underlying that is a new greenstone section that no one's ever explored before. So there's actually 2 gold targets within one there. And we're looking forward to doing some more exploration on that in the future. And as I said, if you're interested in some of the background, you can click on the little arrows there and go look at the relevant announcements on those topics. And also, we've got a mill. You can see it in the background of the image there, which is only a couple kilometers away, and that's somewhat underutilized at the moment. So if we even get a hint of a resource in this area, we've got somewhere to send the ore straight away. Next target on the list is called Messenger. So this is another one of the old targets that we started the company with. And this is one of the first places that gold was discovered in Western Australia in the early 1900s. And it was so high grade and so prolific that the government built a processing facility there, otherwise known as a battery. And that hasn't stopped basically producing, even if it is small scale, but artisanal gold for the last 120 years. And this is still one of the most popular places that prospectors go in the state because the gold is still everywhere at the surface. And the vast majority of this ground has not been explored, just some isolated small drilling programs here and there, which haven't really tested all, let alone some of the major targets. The Euro Target. So this is the southernmost holding in our Yalgoo project, and you can see we're right beside the Vault Minerals Rothsay mine, which is circa million ounce. Very serious deposit, and it has a curious magnetic anomaly underneath it, and you can see that there's more of those around the region if you look, and particularly in the northern section there's historic drilling with drill holes up to 15 meters at 2 grams. There's 20 meters at 1 gram there. There's a lot of drilling there, and we also did some drilling there in 2021. And we also found some nice juicy looking gold there with a couple meters at 4 grams. And we're looking forward to putting that all together sometime and understanding what's going on there a bit better than we do at the moment. There's also a large target down in the southern part of the section here. If you can see my mouse, there's same magnetic anomaly as Rothsay, large soil anomaly there, which we collected hundreds of samples, and there's a big soil gold bullseye there. So another exciting target. So we've got 4 exciting targets in one project, and looking forward to exploring those, as I mentioned. Moving on to the next project, we're going to have a look at Mount Magnet. So Mount Magnet is a more well-known mining jurisdiction than Yalgoo, and we have a nice strategic holding in the region, as you can see on the slide appearing just now. We've got our red section there, that's Tempest ground, and all the green around us is Ramelius Resources, who is obviously a multi-billion-dollar market cap company, major producer. Also down on the right-hand side here, we've got Ordell Minerals, who've been doing some great things with their exploration since they listed about a year ago. And you can see some of the fantastic results they've got there, 29 meters at 2 grams and that kind of stuff. So we have exactly the same rocks at our project, and we're looking forward to drilling some holes in that in the coming year. And the primary target at this project is the Wrangler Target, and this one shouldn't need a lot of explanation. We've got a large open pit there, which is the southernmost pit in the Ramelius ground, and then directly along strike, only a few hundred meters away, we've got gold at the surface in rock chips that we've collected. So we were just recently out in the field looking at this and prepping up all the things that we need to get a drill program underway. So a lot of exciting news coming from Tempest, and I think this is a cracker of a target, and we're looking forward to getting into it. On to the next project. This one's a bit more of a conceptual, speculative target, but it is also the potential for multi-million ounce deposits. So it's called Elephant because of the size of the potential thing that we could be drilling here. For context, if you look at the top of the picture, we've got the Tropicana mine. As many of you will know, that's one of the largest gold mines in the country, and it has a very specific gold and geophysical anomaly, and we have a very, very similar geophysical and gold anomaly at our elephant target, and that's the main target there. It's called Mammoth. You can see there's a change in the color from green to, or from red to green, and historical exploration also found an 8-kilometer long gold anomaly at the surface. So we're progressing this target like all of our projects, and we should have some more news about this in the coming months. So moving away for gold now. Hopefully everyone's satisfied with that. We're going to talk about our iron development. So this picture will look very familiar too. It was just on the screen a few moments ago. This is again the Yalgoo Project. And instead of focusing on gold this time, we're looking at iron in the Yalgoo Project. And all of the large brown circles are huge iron deposits. And there's actually more there, but it would be too noisy if I put them all on there, to be honest. But the ones we want to focus on are, of course, we've got Phoenix, we've got Asia Iron, Carrara. These are multi-billion dollar projects, but also multi-billion ton iron projects. And at the top of the picture, one that often gets forgotten about is FIJV, which is an exciting private iron deposit. And I believe they just got their approval to develop that project. So there's a lot going on in this region. But we here talk about the Tempest story, and that is Remorse. This is a discovery that we made at the end of last year, just before Christmas, and it's really lit a fire under what we think we can do. So, as I mentioned earlier, all the technology, the experienced people we have, they're all for this purpose. When we make a discovery, we can develop it quickly, and that's what we've been doing. So, in a few short months, we released an exploration target. We released a resource. We've already completed a large percentage of our metallurgy studies, and we're looking at infrastructure and mining and that kind of stuff. So we're really excited about this, and I think once the market realizes the opportunity that we have here, that we're going to be looked at a little bit differently. And there's a summary of all the things I just mentioned. A bit more detail on it. So here's some pictures from the discovery itself. We were drilling, as many people will know, this was actually a copper target. And the base metal potential at this target still remains. So there's still a high chance of finding serious copper zinc in this region. But when we drilled through where some of the copper is, we hit a large iron deposit, and that came as a partial surprise to us because the iron actually sticks out at the surface, but at the surface it's quite weathered and doesn't look very exciting. But when you go 1 meter below the surface, it's super high grade magnetite. And when I talk about high grade, I mean we've got grades up to 39.9, essentially 40%, which is quite exceptional for magnetite. And so we only drilled 20 holes here, and many of them weren't targeting the iron. In retrospect, obviously, if we knew, we would have done things differently. But with what we did do, we were able to achieve quite a lot. So as I mentioned before, we've got an exploration target of about 100 million tons. We think there could be quite a lot more there. This is only using the outcrop that we can see and the drill holes that we have. And then using that same data and a bit more conservative, we've done a resource estimate, which comes out at 63 million tons at 30.6, which is quite respectable in its own right. So we fully expect both of those numbers, the exploration target and the resource, to increase quite markedly over time, and we'll have some news coming out on those things in the coming week or so. So I encourage you to stay tuned and keep watch for those. So after we've done our resource, concurrently with doing our resource, we also did, we got straight into it and we did a bunch of metallurgy sampling. So we collected 9 composite samples. These were quite large, and you can see there's myself and our geology manager Yerka in the field collecting those samples, and we submitted them to the IMO Metallurgical Lab, who've been doing a battery of tests on those. And we've received the first result of those that was released a week or so ago. And you can see the Davis tube testing. For those not familiar, that's the industry standard for how well iron was recovered from magnetite. And we got a recovery, conceptual recovery of up to 68%. In fact, it's more than 68. It's 68.8, and that's an exceptional result for our first metallurgy sample. So we're very excited, and we think, again, we've got a resource, we've got fantastic location, and now we've got metallurgy proving that this can be processed quite nicely. This should start to gel on the market and show that this is actually quite a serious proposition, as well as it having low impurities that we already noted in the geochemistry, but that's also been backed up with the metallurgy work as well. So stay tuned, more news to come out on that. We've still got 8 samples to release to the market on that one, so there's some more news flow coming up. One of the greatest things about the Yalgoo project, and many of you will have heard me speak about this in the past, is the presence of just magnificent infrastructure. So you can see that picture there. The red outline is our project. We've got the national highway goes straight past our project within a few kilometers. We've got rail within a few kilometers. We've got multiple mines with processing facilities within a few kilometers, and there's power being built left, right, and center all around us. So this is not a project that is stranded out in the middle of nowhere. One of the other things is that we have a fantastic relationship with our Indigenous owners of the project area, and they're very supportive of what we're doing. So we think that we can progress this project very quickly, assuming there's no unexpected regulatory hurdles. And related to that is another exciting development in the Yalgoo region, which is the potential of a steel or iron concentrating facility being built. So this is currently being looked at by a company called Greensteel of Australia, or Green Iron and Steel Australia is a subsidiary. We have a binding MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the company, and we're looking at how we can progress the Remorse project with this steel facility, which will be half an hour's drive in reality away from the deposit. So this is a real opportunity for us to create some downstream value for our Tempest Remorse project within the region that we're already in, without having to ship things a long distance. But as I mentioned, we've got gas, power, rail, all those things already there. So I think there's a real significant opportunity here in the Greensteel development. And I will share that we have had significant interest from both the state and federal government in supporting this project. So we will have more news on this coming up, and I look forward to sharing that with you. So what else is on the horizon? That's a really great question. There's a list. It's not exhaustive. There's definitely going to be more things on the list than that, but they're the things that came to mind overnight when I was updating this presentation. So I mentioned already that we've got updates from Greensteel. We're going to be doing more drilling. We've got some geology news to do with the greater iron prospectivity at the project. And we've also got all those gold targets that I talked about that we're going to be doing exploration for, as well as the completion of the entitlement offer that I mentioned at the start of the presentation. So I think we're coming up to only a few hours to go before that closes. So if you're keen to be involved, make sure you get that done before the end of the day. As well as we'll be presenting the same information at various conferences towards the end of the year. So I'd be remiss if I didn't tell everyone or encourage everyone to visit our main sources of information. Obviously, our website is where you can get all the information on the company, and within that we have our investor area, our investor hub, and that has a lot of information on all the announcements we put out, as well as content on all around. But that's linked to our YouTube channel, which you can see there. And for every news item we put out, every announcement we put on the market, I also always put a video with those, which has a more in-depth explanation of that announcement, put into different wording, and hopefully can help explain things. We also have constant footage being put up from us in the field, us working, all the different things that we're doing. So recommend you visit both of those if you want to learn more. And of course, you can reach out anytime on the direct means on the left-hand side and the social media avenues on the right-hand side there. So that's that for the presentation. I just checking in the window here. I'm not seeing any questions. Oh, yes, we do have one from Mr. Day. He's asked, with the large number of shares that we have on issue, it's a moderate number of shares we have on issue. I won't say it's such a huge number compared to many of our peers, actually. Whether we'll be considering a consolidation. Look, that's something that's always a consideration. It isn't on our priority list at the moment, but we may look at that in the future. Paul's asked, will we raise capital on an ongoing basis? Look, we're an exploration company, so that is our main avenue for progressing our work. I think the raising that we're doing at the moment, we've done a small private placement and this entitlement issue. I think that will tie us over for some time. We can certainly be do some drilling and progressing our projects with that. But that is part of the game, is raising money as part of exploration. We have some alternate funding ideas that we're working on, but I can't divulge those at the moment. Another question has asked, how long until we will be revenue is generated? As I mentioned before, we're an exploration company at this time. We're not a producer, but certainly the development of the Remorse project, we're looking to progress that as fast as we possibly can. And obviously, I can't give any anticipated timeline for production there, but I mentioned that there's a lot of compelling story elements to that, which means that we can progress it quickly without any unexpected hurdles. Simon's asked why our previous capital provider dropped out. If you're referring to Cambrian, the private placement that we're going to do with them, they were hit very heavily by the economic turmoil that occurred after the US imposed their tariffs and that kind of thing, and they pulled back from pretty much all their investments worldwide at that time due to that. So hopefully that answers that one. Joel's asked, will we accept payments as long as they're made today? Yes, to the end of business Eastern Standard Time. All right. Well, I think we've hit 11:30. So again, appreciate everyone for joining us, and thanks to Invest Hub for setting the system up that we can do this on. I'm going to try and hold these more regularly now. So as I mentioned, visit our website at YouTube, and see everyone on the next webinar of this type. Thanks a lot, everyone.